Hello and welcome to another episode of How to Be a Movie Snob. Folks, we're supposedly finishing up our awards season.
We're trying.
Podcast.
Limping across the finish line.
We just keep finding another thing to talk about, even though the Oscars are long gone and we're moving on to a new season. But darn it, we just saw some of these movies a little bit ago, so it's not our fault that you guys pick movies that we can't watch till 2 seconds ago, all right? It's not our fault. My name's Seth, and I'm joined in studio with
Mariah.
And from afar, in a land far away, in a very wonderful, mystical, unusual.
Misty?
Misty?
Yeah.
It is misty.
Foggy?
Did you guys have hail today like we did?
We did not have hail.
We had hail.
Boy, it was a doozy.
It was, darn it. I'm
Teeny
losing
bit
my
of
business.
rain.
And what's your name, sir, from afar?
My name is Pat. Pleasure
good
to be
evening,
with
Pat.
you both.
Hey, good evening. We guys, are you so excited to talk about this?
I know I am.
I'm pretty excited.
I'm excited about the argument that will ensue when we start talking.
I can't wait for Mariah and I to pretend to
This fight.
to pretend like we have any expertise in this field. That's what I can't wait. I can't wait for us to be like
totally ignorant
you know
points
what,
of view
Pat?
coming at you.
You're wrong, and this is what the correct point of view is.
Yeah, unlike all the other movies, we have a high degree of.
That's true.
This
That's
is that
true.
one time then you and I talk about feelings and Pat talks about technical stuff, right?
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Guys,
Let's talk a little bit about both.
Just in case this is your first episode of ever coming to How to Be a Movie Snob, we are three wannabe movie snobs who love to watch movies that no one else will watch with us. So we band together to watch these movies. My goal is to become a better film maker, and by being but watching good films will hopefully make me a better filmmaker. Mariah's here because she likes to watch.
I like to leave my house
Yeah, leave the house. That's the numero uno, I believe.
and watch stuff.
And watch stuff that no one else wants to watch with us. And Pat, also, Pat, what are you doing here?
He's here under duress.
I just missed you guys.
Oh, I'll take that.
I mean, there's a little bit of that, I suppose. Similar, Seth. I work with story and storytelling, and there's a bunch of stuff I can learn to do my job better as well. And I just like movies and hanging out with you guys. So it's multifaceted.
It's pretty
why
great.
I'm here.
It's pretty great. Guys, so welcome to this journey where we're watching movies and seeing, is this snobby stuff really a thing, or is people just talking out, whatever. But frankly, we got to watch some movies we've always wanted to watch, and some that we didn't want to watch.
We never knew we wanted to watch.
Never knew we didn't want to watch. Yeah, it's all of it.
Yeah.
This
bit of everything.
This is my favorite part of the Academy Awards. It's the most true to like what's actually the best film that I believe any other category historically by the Oscars. I feel like this category, even though it's rather a new category in the history of all things Academy Awards. It has proven to be more accurate looking back than almost any other category.
Or non-affected. It was like a non-affected category. There wasn't a lot of politics going into it.
Same. Yeah, exactly right. It's not affected by outer things. It's just whether it's a good
purest
movie.
category.
Now, this year might be a little bit different, but we'll talk. We'll have that argument here in a little bit.
Might be taking a turn.
Here we go. So that's my kind of hot take for the Oscars. I feel like this is their best thing they do. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll allow it. I don't know if they always get it right, but in general, this is pretty good.
If you want, after your hot take, we'll go through.
I think we know the last couple of years, Seth will say they got it right.
Well, we'll talk about. I mean, I'd love to go through the list just real quick because it's not too long, so we'll do that in a second. But yeah, that's my hot take. This is the category that historically still rings true more than any other category that the Oscars does. Next to, of course, the best. What was the silent movie? They had it for 1 year. The best written cue card, like what was that category?
Best cue card.
The best cue card guy, the cue card writer or whatever. That's like my favorite. Like it was the 1 year they did it, and then the next year, like everything was sound. So that's great.
Talkies.
Yeah. Anyways, okay.
I'm ready with a hot take.
Okay, all right, let's go, Pat. What you got for me? What you got?
My hot take is that the best animated feature should be well animated. That's my hot take.
We are not surprised by that hot take at all. That is not surprising.
I mean,
Coming in hot, Pat. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, my hot take is pretty much the same words, but with a different tone, maybe. Is that the best animated film just didn't happen to be the most technically best animated.
So then we have to ask, what does it mean to be the best animated film? That's going to be the question. I'm afraid.
I mean, are we talking technical? Are we talking story here? Well, Pat, are we telling stories in these movies?
Oh, Pat knows. I know where Pat's going.
Are we drawing pictures in these movies? Oh,
it's so good. Which is so funny because Mariah usually goes on the side of like drawing pictures. I figured that you would be on that side of the argument, but you also we were like 90s drawing pictures.
Yeah, I'm also painting pictures, making worlds kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have this little journey. Okay. We're going to go through the Oscars because the animated features has only been around since the year 2000.
Oh, since the
2001, actually. So not 2000, but so close enough. And we're going to
2002.
No, 2001.
Oh, it would be. Was it in the 2001?
There were only
Oscars for the year 2001?
Sorry, the 2000 year for 2001 Oscars. So it was the 2000.
Okay. There's only 2 nominated.
3 nominated for that first year. So the first year, are you guys you cool with this? I'm taking a little time.
Yeah,
take a little time.
Let's do it.
Year 2000, we had Shrek, Jimmy Neutron, and Monsters Inc. 2 of those are bangers, and Jimmy Neutron wasn't that bad, but 2 of those are like defining studios. Monsters Inc. not as much. So which movie won? Do you know?
I do because I look.
Yeah, you look. Shrek won, and I think it's well deserved because
wouldn't some people argue that technically that wasn't the best animation?
Yeah, but it wasn't bad animation.
So maybe we've started that way from the beginning.
Oh, you're just using. Are you just going to use all of this to say why Flow's good? Because let's stop that right now. Let's just stop that right now. Let's just talk about what the best movie in our opinion.
Building a case here.
I know this is also bad.
When Shrek came out,
game changer.
It did look incredible.
Yeah.
Like the environments, the amount, like the blades of grass. Everyone talked about each blade of grass, but Monsters Inc. did like fur the first time very convincingly.
The fur
so
was insane.
It's not like it didn't. And I think the story of Monsters Inc. stands the test of time more than Shrek. But Shrek was kind of
Shrek took the piss out of everything.
It was the flashy. Yeah. It was the flashy. Look at me kind of movie. Yeah, it was fine.
It was also arguably like the first good montage of fairy tales. I mean, they've certainly done that over and over again with like Into the Woods and Ever After and all of those. But this was probably the first time that they kind of brought them all together.
Fun premise.
I want to say I love the movie
other than Mother Goose Rockin' Rhyme.
Yeah, nice. That is a good shout out, by the way. Not animated, but still good. So my favorite scene in almost any movie is the princess scene in Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, where the princesses are like, and it's a direct homage to Shrek. Like, because Shrek was like making fun of Disney to their face, but it kind of, and then it's kind of coming around full circle. Disney is fully making fun of themselves. So no, Shrek I think was a cultural moment. It had the animation to back it. No, I think Shrek
had a banging soundtrack.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on quicker than this. Next one, 2002, Spirited Away takes the Oscar. Arguably the best animated movie of all time. There's not even a question. Now, other ones we had that year was Ice Age, a great cultural moment for that studio.
Hey, yeah.
But it's going against Spirited Away, please. That's not even fair. Treasure Planet was fine. Lilo and Stitch was fine. Spirit is forgettable.
Lilo and Stitch was great.
It was great, but it was
and Chris Sanders back in action this year.
How he's a snob. I like the Pat. I'm so glad. This is the Pat moment.
He knows names. He's a Gillette.
Good.
He knows names.
So good.
Gillette's know names.
The next year was hilarious because how bad all the other movies. I didn't even heard of these other movies. Finding Nemo won, beating out Brother Bear and the Triplets of Belleville.
I missed out on the triplets.
It's a Frenchy one.
Oh, that makes sense.
It was
I did
good,
see Brother
but
Bear.
very Frenchy.
Yeah, but Finding Nemo was like, everyone thought Pixar wasn't going to come out with another banger, and they came out with Finding Nemo. The next year, guess what? Incredibles came out, arguably Pixar's best movie ever made. And it beat out Shrek 2 and Shark's Tale, so that's not even a question. 2006, let's bring it back, y'all. Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit, won it. Over Corpse Bride and Howl's Moving Castle, two great also animated movies. So that was a pretty solid year.
That would
that
have been
year.
one of those years I'd be like, I don't care
who wins. They're all great.
They're all great.
But I'm glad Wallace and Gromit got an Oscar. Next one,
We know you are.
Happy Feet won, which I'm a little.
Yeah.
I think Cars should have won that year. That's the one where I kind of like Happy Feet over Cars was a bit of a ridiculousness. Maybe they're just sick of Pixar winning all the time. So that was one that didn't quite. But hey, that's the first one that's like a miss that we had so far. That's the first one.
And it's not a Pixar or Disney.
Yeah, so maybe that's they just campaign better. Who knows?
You know the craziest thing about Happy
Disney.
Feet?
What?
Is that it was directed by George Miller, who also made Mad Max.
Exactly right.
That's insane.
That's enough to get
Insane.
an Oscar, I think.
That's so good. Okay, next year, 2007, we got Ratatouille beating two movies I've never heard of, Persepolis and Surf's Up. So that's fine.
Surf's Up was a penguin-y surfing
Yeah, it
movie.
was one
And
of those
Persepolis was
floppy-haired
an
penguins.
adult.
Oh my.
Was an adult animated one about Iran.
I ran. You ran. I ran. Next year was
So
Up.
far away.
Up one, which is very
So
awesome.
good.
But the other ones were so good too. We had Coraline, Fantastic Mr.
yeah.
Fox, which I adore that movie. The Princess and the Frog, which was great because it was hand-drawn, right, Pat? That was like the last hand-drawn one, but it wasn't as good as the other Disney movies story-wise. And The Secret of Kells. But Up,
so good.
Up, the opening sequence of Up alone is worth an Oscar. So
I'm going to start crying just thinking
it's
about
so
it.
freaking good. So far,
Yeah.
again, we've only had one miss, guys. Only one miss, and we're already 9 years in.
In Seth's opinion.
In my opinion, I think we're. I'm not. I don't think I'm too far off here. 2010,
Big deal. Secret of the Kells coming on the scene. Cartoon Saloon. They will show up a couple more times on this list, I think.
Nice. I like it. 2010, Toy Story 3, which Pat, you're the one who told me.
So good.
Banger of a movie. It beat How to Train Your Dragon, The Illusionists, which is fine.
Which is great. I mean, How to Train Your Dragon, if it was released any other year, probably could have won.
I don't know the
That's a great movie.
Illusionists.
And this is where the year gets a little awkward. Rango beats out A Cat in Paris, Chico and Rito, Kung Fu Panda 2, and Puss in Boots. Not a strong year, I'll give you that.
But Puss in Boots.
Puss in Boots is fine. I mean, the new Puss in Boots is dope.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so that was a rough year. Just a rough year.
Rango was, I think, got some heat because it visually took a turn. That was an ILM animated movie.
Oh, okay. I was wondering.
Gore Verbinski, Johnny Depp. You know, it had some
star power,
players
but
in it.
I mean, man, come on.
It's entertaining. I mean, it's Seven Samurai, basically, or maybe not Seven Samurai.
Yeah,
but
exactly right.
it's basically
it's Bug's Life. Exactly,
It's a
right.
Bug's Life,
It's
yeah.
a Bug's Life, which is funny. 2012, we got Brave. Interesting. It beat Wreck-It Ralph, which I kind of wish Wreck-It Ralph won, to be honest. Just that one seems a little better.
I liked Brave a lot.
Yeah, I do too, but it's more forgettable than Wreck-It Ralph, as someone who's seen both of them. Paranorman was that year. The Pirates, The Adventure and Scientists.
Paranorman also really good. That's a good year.
That's a good year.
Those are all good.
This one, I love the next one, why they won, even though it's such a non-sexy choice for Oscars. Frozen got the Oscar. And
it won the world.
Should have.
It won the world that year.
It should have.
There's nothing you could say.
Yeah, because all the other ones was The Wind Rises.
They didn't need to send screeners out.
No,
No.
it's just
Everyone
like, yeah, it's already dominated.
Yeah.
2014, Big Hero 6 won. Again, that great movie. Beat out The Box Trolls, which was, Song of the Sea, Tale of the Princess, which
Song of the Sea.
that's so good. And then How to Train Your Dragon 2. So, again, we're still doing pretty good here, folks. 2015, Inside Out won over Boy in the World. Shaun the Sheep. I do love Shaun the Sheep, but Inside Out was so good. It changed the way you talk about your freaking emotions. Anna Melisa, Pat, is that? And then where Murney was. And then 2016, Zootopia won.
So good.
Good, but it beat
Very fun.
Moana.
I'm still okay with that. I think overall it's a better,
Both good.
well-rounded movie.
And then Kubo and the Two Strings, My Life as the Courgette, and The Red Turtle were also that year. So
but
not
probably
a bad year.
Moana.
Also really good.
Moana probably won some original score stuff.
Yeah,
Or
maybe.
best song.
Yeah, best
I hope it
original
won
song or
songs because
something.
my goodness. No, but Moana, I love Zootopia, but Moana is timeless. Like
So
Moana
Zootopia.
but no, it's not. It's
Yes.
fine. No, Zootopia is cute, but Moana is like Moana 2 sucks so bad and still made $1 billion because Moana 1 was so good. That's
Moana
how
2.
timeless Moana is.
Moana 2 is horrible.
Yeah. But no, Moana 1 is that good that you're willing
It
to
was
go to
good.
Moana 2.
It's great.
It's
Yeah.
great. It's great. Anything
And I
that-
think because it's got memorable music,
yes.
that keeps it going,
Yeah.
right? Like you come back to
You
the
get a
music, even if you
soundtrack,
don't
you're
watch it.
gonna win.
You get Hamilton in there, what are you going to do? You can't
Yeah.
beat Hamilton.
I mean, Zootopia had Shakira
Mm-hmm.
with a pretty good song.
I love
So I
that
do think
song.
about that movie
No,
with that
it-
song in there.
I have a
It's
video of
a
my.
good animated movie.
I have a video of
Yeah.
my almost 1-year-old dancing to that song.
That's cute.
With his cousin,
That's
two of his
cute.
cousins, and it's classic
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, it's definitely not as good as Moana. Okay, next one.
Anywho,
Coco won the next year over Boss Baby. Although Boss Baby
Boss
is so
Baby
funny.
is so
It's
good.
funny. But Coco is really, I mean, the breadwinner.
Coco
Oh, and Ferdinand is pretty good
heartstrings.
too.
I love
and Loving Vincent.
Ferdinand.
So, Pat, what do you think about 2017? I don't know these ones. I love Ferdinand. I love Boss Baby. I love Coco. Coco to me was like,
I didn't see the other two, but all three of the others are great.
yeah. That
I
was
wouldn't
fun.
have picked
Coco just crafts.
Yeah, I thought so. Because it's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. Like it's just
And it's a new, it took us to a new world. It also had
Death.
good music and it
Underworld.
had so much emotion.
yeah, for real.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
it's
good.
great.
Okay, just making sure because I'm like, it looked dope to me, but my
I
No,
mean,
it was
didn't
great.
Okay.
Hercules kind of talk about that?
yeah. Next year, arguably one of the best animated movies of all time, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It won Best Picture. No one complained about that. Although you did
Game
have
changer.
Incredibles 2, which is dope. You had
Very good.
Isle of the Dogs. Loved Isle of the Dogs. You have Mariah. I don't know what that one is, but I know who those people are, so I assume it was dope because
Ralph
those guys
Breaks
always
the
kill it.
Internet.
And then Ralph Breaks the Internet, which is one of my favorite scenes in all
Solid.
animated films. So it was a great year in 2018. 2019, freaking Toy Story 4 wins it again. Not sad about that. It was great.
I think probably at the time they thought maybe it would be the last one.
Yeah, they probably did.
And every time it's always like, okay, they should stop because how do you do another one?
Yeah.
after
Exactly
that?
right.
And then they do it, and
And
you're
then
like,
those
so good.
those wizards just
I
managed
don't
to
know
like
how they do
get
it.
you again.
I don't know
okay,
how they
but
do it.
now you should be done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It's like, oh, all right.
It beat out How to Train Your Dragon, Hidden World, I Lost My Body, Claws, which is fine, and then Missing Link. So that one I think won without a question. That was
I really like Claus and Missing Link.
I like
But yeah,
Claus,
I would still give
but
it to.
but come on, like Toy Story is stupid good. It makes me angry how good they are still. The fourth one's still that
It
good.
shouldn't work
It shouldn't
anymore.
work anymore. 2020 I think was a rough. I never saw any of these movies, which is very
What?
awkward. Soul,
was
Onward,
good.
Over the Moon, Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon. I might have seen that one actually, and Wolfwalkers. Soul won.
Yeah.
I saw Soul and Onward.
Yeah, I got no
And-
feelings about that one.
I really liked Soul.
2021 they got.
I did too.
The Soul.
Wolfwalkers, I would have.
Pick that over it.
I thrown it. Maybe Soul's very good though.
Okay.
I think Soul again made a kids movie about a
Death.
Yeah.
dead
Yeah.
jazz singer
who
or
died,
jazz
yeah.
pianist.
And I
right?
don't think that one's
and so
gonna.
it's like that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I don't think that will stand the test of time. Kind of
No.
movie.
It hasn't
It'll.
at all.
Yeah, it doesn't come back into the roster at
Sorry,
our
Ja-
house.
sorry,
and
Jamie
it
Foxx.
was on the roster for quite a while.
Yeah,
So,
exactly
Wow.
right. So that one was a weird year. The next year was it's not even close. This one, it's Encanto. Yeah, of course Encanto wins. It was, again,
Sure.
you can't beat Alexander Hamilton. You just can't beat him. Lin-Manuel Miranda, you know what you're doing. Flea, Luca.
Raya was
The
good.
Mitchells and the Machines was cute. Raya and the Last Dragon was cute.
Yeah.
They were all good, but like
Luca.
Encanto's a freaking moment. in
Encanto
film.
had the songs.
Yep. And this is where we
the
start to
winner.
get in the movie snob land, guys. We're getting to movie snob land. 2022.
Here we
Here we go. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio won over. This is the crazy thing, though. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
So
I would
good.
not have been sad if that won. because it's so good. It is so stupid how good it is.
Yeah.
Marcel and the Shell, the Shoes On, the Sea Beast, and Turning Red. But the Pinocchio, I mean, it's Del Toro. He's great. Pat, did you like that one? That's the best. The Pinocchio over the others in 2022.
Yeah,
I didn't watch Marcel, but it looked cute preview wise.
Marcel the Shell with shoes on.
Mm-hmm. And we're getting to last year, The Boy and the Heron,
which Seth says probably, of course.
Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Verse Across the Universe. I only saw 2 of those. I don't know.
I saw
same.
2.
Yeah. I was pretty bad about that.
So again, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was great. Not as good as the first one, but still great. And it was just amazing. Just so yeah.
Boy and the Heron won, right?
Yeah, Boy and the Heron won.
Yeah. Elemental was good.
It was fine. I was kind of like,
and Miyazaki didn't even show up.
Yeah.
He's so mad he didn't win for Howls. I forget which movie he was so mad he didn't win on. He kind of
so
stopped
funny.
coming to the Oscars. But
so honestly, out of all of those, maybe 1 or 2, I was like, they missed it. I think 2 for me missed it. And that's incredible because I could tell you in the last 3 years.
It all made sense. Like, there's probably a few years where I'd be like, well, I kind of, like, one of them had a different edge for me or whatever, but I don't argue who won.
You could make the argument.
Yeah, exactly right. It's not, they haven't had their.
It's not a whoa. What are they even talking about?
They haven't had their Shakespeare in Love beats Saving Private Ryan, and The Thin Red Line, and what was the other movie that year? There's just insane movies that year, and the worst movie. It's a Wonderful Life. Hey, that movie at least got beat by a good movie. So like animation just hasn't had that yet, unless you call Flow this year. We'll talk about it this year. But so that like they're not afraid to pick the popular movie if it's good, and I love that about the animated category, and so. I just trust this more. I'm not sure about this year, but I trust it more. But this year we didn't have any bangers. Like the biggest banger was Inside Out 2, which is really good, but it wasn't a cultural moment like Inside Out 1 was.
No.
You know what I mean? So
I think the issue for me this year was none of the movies, I enjoyed all of them. That's part of the thing is that nothing was a standout. Like, of course this is going to win. But I enjoyed all 5 of these movies.
Nice.
There wasn't anything
100%.
that I could say oh, that sucked. Or
I didn't see Memoir of Snell, but I'm taking your guys' word for it.
I'm so sad for you.
Maybe I'll see. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see. So
fair to be said.
Not with your kids.
No, exactly right.
And
so I am excited to hear how you guys break this down. So, do we want to start with our favorite movies, or how do we want to start this, guys? Like, this is how do we want to break this down? Because I know Mariah's favorite, and we kind of know my favorite.
I don't know.
Oh, really? Ooh, oh, yeah, we talked about this.
I had an emotional favorite, but I felt like the one that I thought would win won.
Yeah. Because it was leading up to it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't surprised.
I mean. Spoilers, Flo did win the Oscar.
Oh, by the way.
If you haven't watched the Oscars yet, this comes out 3 weeks after the Oscars.
There's also an awards show called the Annie Awards, which is an animation-based awards.
Oh, yeah. Who won that?
And Flo did win for Best Animated Feature Independent.
See?
Ooh, I like that.
But Wild Robot won for Best Animated Feature.
That's best of the best for me.
The other noms were Inside Out 2, Kung Fu Panda 4, That Christmas, Ultraman Rising, and Wallace and Gromit.
So
that you
Wallace
probably are like,
Gromit
I've never even heard of those things.
Well, I've heard of all, I think, but
I didn't heard the
did
Ultraman
not
one.
watch.
Yeah, Wallace and Gromit was in the Annie Awards list.
Of the high budget, not low budget.
That makes me happy that Wild Robot won.
Yeah, I mean, not independent.
Yeah, I guess,
Hardman.
yeah. It's hard because they're not like the same thing as Pixar and Disney, which is, of course, nothing is.
No.
And they're not
Werewolf
the same thing as,
was at least distributed with DreamWorks so that one had some of the DreamWorks-ishness. Apparently that was a bad experience for Nick Park, even though it got him an Oscar. But yeah, otherwise, Aardman is sort of, it's British, so it's never really that big, right? It's like, it's like the BAFTAs are to the Oscars. Like, we know about them,
Yeah.
but not everyone watches.
They're in
them
there.
like they
Right.
do the Oscars.
Exactly.
It's a known name, but
But it's not in the independent. You had $3 million, like memoir or flow or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, like there's some agreement generally with at least what was nominated. And yeah, I can start with my rankings.
Ooh, let's do. Rankings. I like that. I like that. Let's do rankings. Are you gonna start from your worst to the best, or what are you gonna do?
do it.
Sure, I can start worst to the best.
Okay. Oh, I can't. Please be Flo for your worst.
Flo is my worst. So I do disagree with the Academy.
You're so gangster, Pat. You're such a gangster. I love it so much.
And then, I mean, I went with Inside Out 2. Is
As your
actually
second
my
worst?
second lowest.
Okay.
And then pretty split on this. Like I could flip this, but I more recently watched Memoir of a Snail. So I went Wild Robot, and then I did Memoir of a Snail, and Wallace and Gromit is my big winner.
Oh, my order is not that at all.
Pat, you're gangster. I love it. It's gangster. I got no problem with any of that.
Loves the ending of that
I
story.
love that freaking take. Pat,
Loves
why?
that for you.
Oh, should we do our list first and then get into the whys?
Yeah, let's do our list, and then we can
Okay,
argue about it.
Mariah, you're going to
I'm
go
ready.
next.
I ranked these pretty quick
That
here.
was great.
Okay. 5, Inside Out 2.
Okay.
4, Wallace and Gromit. Sorry.
No, just
3, Memoir of a Snail. 2, Flo, and 1, Wild Robot.
Oh, Wild Robot overflow.
I wanted Wild Robot, but I knew Flo would win.
Okay.
And my son really wanted Flo to win.
Okay, so here's my problem. I didn't see Memoir of a Snail, so that's
a
out.
big problem.
So that's out. I
So
can only do
sans
top
that.
4, right?
Yeah.
And this is where it gets a little tricky because I acknowledge how interesting Flo was, and I thought Flo was something I've never seen before because I haven't seen too many artsy cartoons, to be honest. And I felt like this is a genre that I was like, oh, this is interesting. And it never lost my attention. The dog was garbage. It was a yellow blob.
And in rewatching it, I realized
Holy
all the
crap.
dogs were garbage.
They were so it was hard because it was the lovable
Boy,
character.
I wish you could take the dog.
Oh, rough.
Fix that up,
rough. Like
but-
I was cool with the cat, bad animation, that was fine. The birds are fine. The birds are fine. Like I was digging the birds.
Capybara actually held up okay.
Capybara was pretty good. But
The
good
lemur?
Lord,
How about the lemur?
that was fine.
I didn't love the lemur.
It's fine-
but
it's fine with me 'cause
he
it's-
was fine. He didn't bother
It
me
wasn't
like the dogs.
yellow on yellow blob. That's all I knew. The lemur actually had some definition, so that was fine.
They all had some good stuff.
So this is not this movie's fault that it's number 4. It is because it's the movie I watched the year before, which is called Migration.
You're, oh,
Yeah. So
why are you putting them together?
Because it's the
just
same
because they each
plot.
have a bird
It's the same
that
plot.
migrates.
It's the same plot.
No, it isn't.
One's done well, and one's done poorly. This one's done well, but it's
Very
still
well.
number 4. Wild Robot's number 4, which is and it's only.
Well, Wallace and Gromit's my number 4,
It's-
so it's okay.
It's fine. It's exactly, and it's only because I'm like, it didn't feel different enough.
It wasn't
like,
original for you.
Yeah, and not that Wallace and Gromit is original.
Yeah,
Let's
because
just be
Wallace
real.
and Gromit. Oh, this is a new thing. Where do these characters come from?
But you're ready for this? Why I was so surprised at Wallace and Gromit. I'll get to it when I get to it. So Wallace and Gromit
And
was,
every Easter egg in that movie that went back to every other Wallace and Gromit
oh my
movie.
gosh, yeah, I loved it so much. So Wild Robot was number 4, not because it's a bad movie. I'm so glad I got nominated because it's freaking great. Number 3, I think I'm going to go with Inside Out 2 because, yes, I love the new emotions. And as an adult watching it, I freaking loved it. I'm like, this helps us adults more than
That's
the kids.
what that's called?
It's called,
Oh.
I feel like this movie was more directed to adults than kids. And that's actually in its detriment because it was great for us. But I don't know if the kids liked it as much as Inside Out 1. That's just to be real. Like, because Dottie was like, I'm not at that age yet. I'm not a teenager
Right,
yet.
it's over
like,
their
what a-
head
Here
in
is
a lot
exactly
of ways.
Because the first
She
movie's
did
like
it a
is
lot.
perfect for a 6-year-old, but the second one's perfect like for like a 15-year-old. Like they did a pretty big jump there. So your demographic, you kind of lost your original
Right,
crowd
throwing
there.
envy in is
It's a little rough.
It's not
there.
it's not that it doesn't exist.
Great for the parents. Like we had a
Yeah,
great time
sure.
watching that.
You mean ennui?
Yeah,
Ennui.
exactly right. And then I'm gonna go with obviously Flow next. It was too distracting. It was just too distracting. It wasn't because it was like a less good version of an anime. It was like the intriguing concepts of anime that's different because it obviously was not an American who wrote this, which I love. Everything about this felt not like the thought process of someone from the United States. And
It's a Terrence Malick with less plot.
yeah, with less, with more weird shapes. So I give it props, but doggone it,
Latvia, I believe.
when I watched Wallace and Gromit, I felt like I've never seen Wallace and Gromit before, and maybe I just haven't seen it in a
Because
while.
you fell and bumped your head.
Because it literally every moment was
'Cause you
so.
have memory
We
loss.
watched We watched it 2 or 3 times in a row. Because Dottie
And you
loved it so
forgot
much.
every time
No,
that you'd seen all of these characters before?
no, it's not the character. Oh my gosh, the penguin is so funny. The penguin.
Well, yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's absolutely
That penguin.
That's what makes
Feathers
this
McGraw.
movie a winner. That is so good.
The penguin sweating in like scene 3. I was dying. I'm like,
So
nope,
good.
Oscar's over. Give it to the penguin.
That is the best
It
villain.
is
That's
so
the best
good.
animated villain
Oh my
for
gosh.
sure.
I was like,
It's so good.
and the jokes were every second. I couldn't get over like it just didn't stop. I couldn't because I feel like Wallace and
Voice
Gromit.
activated. The voice activated and the penguin are
Oh my
really
gosh.
good.
I could quote that movie forever. It's so good. Oh no, like Wallace and Gromit hit me on all the points, and I'm like, I didn't know I was this big of a Wallace and Gromit fan. But it's and oh, by the way, it's freaking claymation, so it takes forever to make, and it's still this relevant after you planned it 10 years ago or whatever you did to make this movie. No, Wallace
I feel like
and
you're
Gromit,
gonna go on the whole like, oh, it's the first one they made since what's his face passed away.
Oh no, that's
so
a
then
good
there's
one
like
though.
the
I like
whole like
that.
emotional.
Oh, that's great. No,
like, oh, it's the
no,
first
Yeah.
new
But
Wallace.
I think that could be
that
could be
I'm just enjoying the movie
thing
for what it
against
is.
it in some ways.
I'm trying to keep
yeah,
a surface level
because
here.
it could
like-
be like, oh, they just don't, it's not
Yeah, it doesn't
great
sound like-
anymore.
yeah. So no.
Peter.
So I was upset that Flo
Yeah.
won. I understand.
Wells.
I understand what won, but Wallace and Gromit. I haven't enjoyed. That was my favorite animated movie by far this year. Like by far. Like it's not even close.
Salas.
Yeah. So because last year I didn't care about any of them. Like I'll just be real.
I'm not arguing that Wallace and Gromit wasn't great. I just have seen this movie before, and there's new things like the penguin.
Because
You know what
That
else?
great,
They reference
awesome.
so many movies.
You've seen that
But
movie
it's-
before.
Genre
I'm kind of like
it
Wild
re-
Robot. Like I saw that movie before.
No, it's a mashup.
They
and
did it
was
better.
a way better mashup of both of the mashups that it came.
I think I
from.
dreamed Flo before.
You dreamt Flo before, like and then you wet.
This doesn't make any
and then
sense.
you wet the bed.
Why is there a big old
Does
mountain
this
of a
go
cat?
back? Does this go
Yeah.
back to your space mattress?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. The one thing that was fun about
Yeah, probably.
the space. I feel like I'm out of the loop on this one. What's the space mattress?
Oh, it's just a
I had a
sad
space
mattress.
mattress, and it lived a sad life
Oh
of
jeez.
urine-filled nights.
Oh no.
You don't get it? Flow with all the
Oh,
water.
that's I get it.
Filling up.
Oh, blah, blah.
Sorry, pal.
Oh, so
'Cause, you
good.
know.
You can edit it out. If
No,
you
it's
want.
fine.
I was a bedwetter. It's fine.
It's fine. We're fine now, Mariah.
You can grow out of it. Everyone.
It's okay.
You're still
I-
suffering from
I
it.
have that child now, so that's
It's-
what I get.
Oh my gosh. How am I allowed to put this on the line? What's going on right now? Am I?
Yeah, that's fine.
We're a big family of bedbutters.
Yeah,
It's like the old.
this happens. It happens.
It's
all right.
it's like in Waterboy. That's his bed sheets.
We're
No,
not perfect.
That's
so
after we
that's
washed
the
it.
Thing.
That's after we washed it.
We all-
Okay, so I do want to get into
Oh.
maybe we just kind of highlight things we liked about our favorites or something. I have some
Sure.
stuff I can go
I
into.
don't even.
But
yeah.
this is sort of a fun fact, more interesting fact.
Mhm.
So I went and counted the amount of animators that were on each production.
Oh.
Just for context.
Ooh, I love this, Pat.
With your
And it's not a total. I did have to do that because IMDb was like wrong. Although I did do that in IMDb, and I was like, "That's not right." And I went and looked at the credits, and I counted
Pat,
probably incorrectly.
I love it.
But and caveat: there are positions that are very animation adjacent, like layout and stuff that I did not count. So purely people with animation in the title. Wallace and Gromit, 39 animators. Okay. Also, this does not mean they were all on the project at one time.
They just held
project
Clay
scale
at
up
one
and scale
moment.
down.
Okay.
They just were technically credited.
Okay.
39. Memoir of a Snail, 11.
Oh.
Although I heard maybe 5 to 7 at one time. So that's 2 stop motion productions.
That
Pretty
makes
big
me
difference.
like it even more.
Because it's less
Wild
work
Robot.
Less work than freaking Wallace and Gromit?
No.
Wild Robot, 71.
Dang.
Inside Out 2, 166.
Not surprising.
And Flow, 20 to 22. Is what I was able to.
Oh, really?
Find.
That many?
That was the whole budget, I bet. Because it didn't go into editing.
So, smallest to largest, Memoir, Flow, Wallace and Gromit, Wild Robot, Inside Out 2. In terms of
that makes sense.
Animators on the project.
Okay.
So that's pretty interesting.
That's
I will say,
good insider
largely telling in terms of
Flow.
Less craft people, less craft. I mean, it sort of is
for sure
is a thing, and movies like Memoir of a Snail lean into that, and I think that's fine, and almost adds something to its charm and how
feel
it's sort
like
of
that
primitive.
does for me, yeah.
It is.
Of course, it does for you.
Other things it doesn't work for me. So
okay,
much.
Pat, we need a stat here, like they do in baseball, like because they used to just have batting average, but then it's like WAR, win above replacement. So like these animators, what is their win above replacement? Like, are they actually like who's doing the most heavy lifting? Because
the Wallace and Gromit animators are pinnacle of craft. Stop motion at a high quality is
tell me more, Pat. Tell me more.
So impressive. It's so impressive. So anyone who works in 3D
it's amazing
animation,
that it takes that many people to tell the same story with like 2 new people in it.
Okay, Brad, let's get Pat the floor. I'm actually excited to hear this because I haven't researched this.
It's with 3D animation. The software lets you do stuff, layer up your acting and performances. You can go back, you can tweak stuff easy. That's the beauty of 3D animation. Stop motion animation is largely straight ahead, and if you mess up, you have to go back and restart. It's this linear process, and you have to know, like, if Wallace is doing the cheese, the animator, each frame has to go, I'm going to push this finger up, this finger down, this finger up, this finger down. And to do that in your head in a way that makes it work is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
As someone that does this every day, they are magicians with their craft.
This is coming from a professional animator, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Wallace and Gromit has to put imperfections in on purpose so people don't think it's 3D animation.
Wow.
Like they make sure it feels a little gummed up. Make sure there's some flashing in the hair, because otherwise everyone just be like, oh yeah, it's 3D because it's so clean and good. It's incredible. It blows my mind, and I can watch them do it all day long. And so Wallace and Gromit jumps to the top, even though I don't think it's as good a story as like Where Wabbit was. It's so good top to bottom that it gets the prize.
That's, I mean, honestly,
and I geek out over it.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Like, that's great to hear, because I just assumed it was the most work. Like, because it looks so stupid good. Like, when you watch the memoirs, I only watch the trailers, but I'm like, yeah, obviously it's claymation, and it's cool, but it's awfully like a rough cool, right? Like, obviously.
very rough.
Yeah.
But when you watch Wallace and Gromit,
it's ugly.
It's ugly on purpose.
And it's supposed to kind of.
Yeah.
But
it's
the
cool.
story, it's a new story.
Yeah,
and
it's great.
There's people's voices that are
no hate
familiar but new to you.
No hate for that.
In this kind of genre.
I was shocked at the cast.
Yes.
Snail.
Yes.
Go
on.
Did you guys watch
Succession.
Yeah. Do you watch Succession? Have you ever seen Succession?
I don't.
Oh no.
Anyway, the daughter in that.
Sarah
Okay.
Snook.
Oh yeah,
She's also in a really good horror movie.
I know Sarah Snook. Yeah. I know that she
Yeah.
is.
The fact that it was her
Mm-hmm.
as this soft-spoken, meek little person, I was like, what?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh yeah, she's Australian. Then you're like, all these people who are good at dropping their accents.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that blew me away.
Yeah, me too. I was happy to find that out.
Guy Pearce is Australian. I still can't get over that. Still, I heard one interview he was like full Australian because I feel like he like can't help but like temper his accent. And one time he's like, shrimp on the Barbie, mate. Like full like stereotypical, like him and Chris Hemsworth were like so Australian I couldn't even handle. I'm like, how are you Memento? How are you LA Confidential? Like I just couldn't handle it. I just couldn't handle it. Sorry. Okay, that's side note track.
No, so the other thing that kind of stood out to me with all this stuff is how much like overlap there was in characters for different reasons. So Memoir of a Snail is largely narrated, and the director does that in most of his movies because it's cheaper. If you're not animating lip sync,
true,
it's cheaper.
Yeah,
and so he just has his characters narrate stuff all the time.
Yep.
He also didn't give the lead character feet. It's just a long dress, and so the animators can just kind of go.
That's so brilliant. That's so. Smart.
They're never worried about animating feet.
Yeah.
And similarly, Flow, there's no voice acting. There's no lip sync of any kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's like on the version of like, this will save us some money. This cuts budget out by doing stuff this way. And interesting creative challenges that they're giving themselves. Wallace and Gromit both has incredible facial performances and body performances, and also has pantomime characters like Gromit and Feathers McGraw, where Gromit, you get so much inner life looking at Gromit's eyebrow furrow a little, and you're like, I know all the emotions you're doing.
Yeah.
Every emotion.
And he has nothing. And so that's taking that as a challenge and going, take your challenge and shove it. We can do all of it.
Yeah. But it's
so interesting seeing people do it for different reasons.
It's just so obvious with Wallace and Gromit that they are not on a budget. They did a great job.
Everyone's all on a budget.
Well,
he's on a budget.
Not on the kind of budget that Memoir of a Snail or Flow, who has 0 deleted scenes. Fun fact. 0. They used everything, which explains a lot of your issues with it.
That is the least surprising thing I've heard all night.
No. But they made a whole independent film work with that. No deleted scenes.
Yeah. I would say probably Wild Robot and Wallace also don't really have deleted scenes. Maybe moments cut out of the edit.
They did it right the first time.
Exactly. They planned it out. It's like they're gonna waste
They storyboard so precisely.
Yeah, you put work on the front or the end.
I know Inside Out 2 did all kinds of crazy stuff with cinematography where they would show like 3 versions of the scene to the editing team.
Right.
I mean, you're not. Is it a new scene? I mean, they threw a new camera in and were able to kind of re-render it. So it's like a different problem, but like the others adhere to really strict storyboards where it's so laid out. Where Flow is very free flowing. Literally, the guy is just like, "What if they went this way? And what if they did this?"
Right.
Well,
and I think
Wong Kar-wai a little bit of it, where it's like,
my issue.
Let's just see what the animals do.
Yeah. My issue with the evaluating the animation movies is that I'm still going off of how I feel watching it.
Which is great.
The story,
That's great,
watching it,
That's great.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Being sucked into this world that they're creating for you. And for me, it's not that I don't appreciate everything Wallace and Gromit does. But it doesn't create a new story for me, and that I'm like, oh, this is new and amazing. It's like another Toy Story. Like, of course it's good. Of course there's memorable scenes. I loved the penguin. I mean, it's awesome. But it's been done very well before. And it's being done very well again, so I'm happy for them that they made another good one, not like a bad sequel like Moana 2. But
Burn.
sorry. But for me, it was, what have I not seen before? And Flow, with its poorly done dogs, is something I never seen before. I watched this with my child. I followed along with the intensity of it all and like the drama, the fact that there's no humans in
First
this.
of all,
This is a totally
there was no
new world.
tents in there. 0 tents. Don't listen to her. There's no tents in there.
Tension.
Oh, sorry. Not that kind of intense. Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
You know.
In
So I'm
boats.
going off the
Story in boats
story. And same with Wild Robot. Like, yes, this is a little bit like Ron's Gone Wrong. And maybe it's a little Migration, but I've never seen Migration.
Which is fine. You should.
But I loved the story. I loved it. All of it. It was great. It was fun. It was well done. It was beautiful. The score was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was solid.
I didn't know what to expect with Wild Robot. I was thinking more Wall-E. And then when it turned into like a full like conversation, I'm like, oh, this is just, okay, that's fun. So I was actually kind of hoping more of a like Oscar-y feel movie, and then it turned out to be just like a good kids movie.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah, it was just a good.
I love. I totally agree with your statement. Like, this is like Inside Out 3 and 4, and that's what it is. It is that good, but not an original character. But darn it, if they don't like make me love Wallace and Gromit again. And
it
so
did bring it back, and it also brought us to rewatching some other stuff. Like we went back and rewatched the original episodes.
Awesome,
and like,
right?
That's cool.
It's
Rediscover
so cool.
something that good, where you go back and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot how great this was.
So I agree with you, and so that I agree with you in the exact same sense of like that's why I loved it more than Flow. But then I understand why you like. Well, let's go for original over craft.
Well, yeah, because you're in the mindset that I am Oscar watching. So there's that piece of it too. So you also have like this weight on you that you're like, is this snobby? Is this Oscar-y? Is this new? Is this bringing something else to the world of cinema that we didn't already have?
Here's the question. Is getting an Oscar supposed to be snobby? Because my problem is I feel like, and I think I've kind of alluded to this, Oscars is trying to be Cannes. I feel like they want to be snobby when we should just be the Oscars. Right. We should just be the best movie made this year.
I feel like the goal of every movie is telling a great story, but also, and they don't all have to do it, but also expanding the universe of films so that everybody has a chance to tell a good story, whether or not they have a big budget or not, whether or not they're technically perfect, but it transports somebody and it gets you into a movie and you watch it all the way through and you don't see all of the flaws. And for me, for the animation category especially, probably, or like if I was the one in charge of cinematography, like no one should put me in charge of that. I don't appreciate everything that goes into it or the technicality of all of the things.
The cinematography of Flow is
but
actually
I'm going
dope,
off
by
of
the way.
Emotion.
Yeah,
for
the
sure.
cinematography of Flow is dope. Actually, it was very cool.
That's the most interesting.
That's the most interesting part of the whole movie to me. Because when I watched that, I was like, the angles of the animation were so creative and thought provoking, with crappy animation, but like great cinematography. That's the irony of Flow. It's like arguably the best cinematography of the animated features with the worst animation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what's kind of interesting because we're pulling animation, animated films out of all film category. So then you have to look at the medium in theory, right? Like that's part of this. Otherwise it would just be, it's just a movie. And so now you're looking at a thing in the animation medium and you're like, the animation's not that good.
Right.
How much do you factor that in? Like, what would be the equivalent, like to me, the acting not being that good in a normal movie. Yeah. You'd be like, I liked a lot of that movie, but man, the actors made really weird, off-putting choices throughout.
But for animation,
and then you wouldn't like that movie as well, right?
And for this year in animation, I felt like there were 3 different mediums. I feel like Inside Out 2 and Wild Robot were like mainstream. This is high quality. This is technically great and typical animation. And then you have Wallace and Gromit and Memoir of a Snail, the whole claymation piece of it. That's totally different
The indie
to me.
and the
then
old
there's
standard.
and then there's Flow, which is like something not
Blender,
of those worlds.
cheap.
And
Free software.
so
software,
we're
open
storyboard.
right.
software.
So where I'm going, well, what's the best story or what brought me something new? Kind of
Yeah.
idea, because
Honestly-
it doesn't all seem like animation to me. I feel like, honestly, like for me, it'd be like, well, now we need a whole claymation category, and now we need a whole.
Which you only get like one claymation every other year. So that's like the fact that
That's
we
true.
had 2 this year is amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah, I can see that, but and like all these things, it's subjective. So I will validate that your opinion could be accurate in some
Well,
ways, but
I'm a
not in my ways.
I'm a lay person in this category for sure.
Same.
Like,
Same,
I don't
same.
appreciate the way Pat does or Seth does. I mean,
But it's
camera is
pretty
diff-
telling to me
but
that you
best cinematography. is
both
Flow, for
acknowledged
sure.
how bad the dogs looked.
Oh, for
right?
sure. It's
Like,
even
that's
a blob.
even Finn said that was true.
Yeah, like what other thing where you'd be like, I really just did, that was good, but I didn't like this at all.
Toy Story 1.
Like,
Toy Story 1. So my only comparison is Toy Story 1. The people were so bad.
the baby
and
The
the
brother.
and the
very
the thing were
off-putting.
so bad.
Yeah, Sid.
But the movie's
Sid,
still
yeah.
great.
Sid was
So that's my
terrible.
only comparison, Pat. If I'm going to defend Mariah here,
Yeah.
Toy Story 1 is a great example because like the toys were amazing. It changed the way we did things with computer animation, but the people were garbage, and they
But
knew the
then there's
people were
nightmare
garbage.
stuff
Exactly
when-
right.
Which
But they
I
still
just
did it.
like-
Unintentionally.
I
Yeah.
think maybe that made more of the appreciation for me too, is that, well, maybe they'll make something with that kind of cool cinematography, that kind of different storyline where you're just in a different world. Like, you don't know what era you're in. There's certainly no
They've done it.
continent
it's
that
called-
fits these animals.
It's called Spirited Away, guys. They've already done it.
Sure.
Come on. They've already done
that
this
whale
movie.
does not exist, but they're still telling this amazing
that was a
story,
weird
and they
one.
hold you for 2 hours, and it's totally fantastic, like fantasy.
Hour and a half.
But there's no words.
Hour and a half, but that's fine.
Yeah,
I thought that was a
72
weird
hours.
thing about it. I mean, you can go like, why was this guy so obsessed with cats that he literally carved a cat out of a mountain?
Right? That was great.
Like,
I
what is
like
his
that.
thing?
I like that,
Yeah.
actually.
Who
But like,
put that
whatever,
there?
I love
interesting.
that, actually.
But then all the other animals are real, and they even went through the effort of having only real animals outside of the capybara, which is a baby camel, because they didn't like how capybaras actually sound.
But the fact that they made the effort to follow a capybara around
Yeah.
the zoo and tickle it, and it just didn't give you the right.
Yeah, made like high
sound.
pitched stuff.
I
It's
didn't
But
know
like,
that.
but then they
That's so
put
funny.
in,
That
but
was
then
one of
they
my
put in a
favorite fun
fake,
facts.
whale.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me. Like,
That is
why?
weird.
What? Why
Like,
did
this
you pick
whale
a
is-
fake whale?
This whale is good, but let's add some stuff. A lot of stuff to it.
That did take
So-
me out. I mean, obviously we talk about flow and the whole like ascension thing. Like, is there a spiritual?
Well, I just
being?
love,
Yeah,
I
you
like
know,
the
there's a
fantasy
lot
of
of
it all. It doesn't
mythology
have to be
you
real.
could put on it.
ROUSs are not real, you guys.
They are. They're called nutria, and they're gross.
Make good knockoff, caps.
Yeah.
I just had I know too much, right? It's like, how the sausage is made,
Yeah,
and watching Flo,
you still eat hot dogs.
I still eat it. Still eat it, but I don't love it. I don't love that I ate
I'm
it.
not
I
happy
eat it
with
with
myself.
a little bit of judgment and
Yeah.
mustard.
some
I
guilt
wish I
and
didn't.
judgment. Yeah. So the animation part, I mean, unfortunate. And then the other part, there's so much water in that movie.
Oh, it's so bad too.
It's called
And the
flow.
water doesn't work like water a lot of the time.
No, it sure doesn't, because it's not real. It's not a real
And I
place.
think that it kind of gets into this like,
the tsunami.
we really gave an Oscar to like a student filmmaker's second student film is what
Yeah.
this feels like. an incredible student film.
That's a good point.
It's like throw money at this guy so he can make a really good film because of what he did in this. Don't give him the Oscar. Is kind of how I feel.
Let's encourage him and give him some funds.
I mean, honestly,
but would he get money
alone,
if he didn't win the Oscar?
100%. He won the freaking Annie.
But this isn't his first film, and he didn't get a ton of money.
The first film, though, have you seen his reviews
did by
from his
himself.
first film?
No.
It's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, he's fine. I mean, he's in Lafayette, so he's not.
Well,
fine, but he's
will he get any money?
Yeah.
I mean, will he get any money really from this? I don't know.
Well, that's
but I would hope.
Are we going to talk about money? Because that's a whole different conversation. Like, let's talk about the best movies of the year. Sean Baker made zero money from Anora. The director for Brutalist won zero money from that movie. Like,
why did he get zero money?
Because they had to.
Because he wasted it all.
No, because he didn't get that much money for it.
Huh.
How many
Baker
people saw Brutalist in theater? Nobody saw it.
I was tired of going to movies by myself. That's why I didn't go see it in the
Nobody
theater.
goes to the
also,
theaters.
who's going to sit for 4 hours in a theater?
Exactly right. So the point is, if you make a major motion picture now,
you might as well put your name on one of the toilets if you are in the theater for that long. Like, this is my
You know what's pretty crazy, though? Inside Out 2, Despicable Me 4, Moana 2, and Kung Fu Panda 4 are the highest grossing animated movies
1 billion
of this last year.
Yep.
So,
yeah,
it doesn't all make sense, even for the good stuff.
You ready for this, Pat?
Not making that
There's two types of movies that make money still: horror movies, because everyone wants to go to a theater to watch them, and kids movies. Those are the only two movies that people
you gotta get your kids out of that house.
Because you gotta get your kids out of the house.
You gotta do
and
it.
we all know it because we all have kids at that right
Even
age.
if you go see Dogman.
You'll see whatever. I don't care.
Hey,
that's why
pretty good
we all
reviews,
saw
actually,
Moana 2. Moana 2 is garbage, but we're like, well, it's that stay home.
I'd rather read the graphic novel than watch Dogman again.
Oh, my gosh. But that's Moana 2. Like, we knew it was bad.
80%. Not terrible.
Rubbish.
But it made $1 billion. And so, you know it didn't make $1 billion? Flow.
No, because it was in 4 theaters.
Yeah.
For 5 months.
I will say,
it
like,
was sad. It was super sad.
Everyone lives, in theory.
Except
it doesn't. Not the one secretary bird.
Yeah, the one.
It went to heaven.
Well, he deserved it.
Or something. And I got his wing broken.
He
was the one protecting him.
He was fine.
I like that he was a jerk.
His wing just seemed hurt.
That was one of my favorite parts about the movie.
What are you talking about? He couldn't fly. That's why he was in the boat with all of them, because he couldn't fly anymore.
He flies later.
Broke his wing.
He flew later.
No,
when he flies to heaven.
Yeah, I don't think he flew.
And when he flies, he's all broken flying. Did you watch
it was great.
Flow?
I feel like you didn't watch the movie.
Is that what we were supposed to do? Watch them?
You picked the movie you didn't watch.
It's
awesome.
a fantasy, you guys.
It's true.
What I think is cool.
Real.
That's so good.
What I think is cool about this category, though, is and honestly about this Oscar season, it does show that budget isn't everything.
Yeah.
You can tell amazing stories, interesting stories without budget. And you don't need all the bells and whistles. But to me, like Memoir of a Snail pulled that off better than Flow did. Because I think Flow put itself in a situation where I'm expecting a quality it couldn't deliver. Whereas Memoir of a Snail set me up from the get-go to be like, this is what you're getting. Don't be looking for good animation here.
But it's
you're just getting animation that tells the story.
No, it's got the darkness that I love. It's got new stuff in it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a great movie. I want to see the trilogy that guy did. I want to see the trilogy.
Mary and Max and
brother, cousin, uncle,
Pat,
or something.
How did you
uncle,
feel,
brother, cousin,
about Godzilla -1 winning the Oscar a year previous?
Not great.
Okay, because it's the same thing. It's
for the same reasons.
It's another Blender movie.
And I had animation issues with that movie.
Yeah.
Incredible what they did.
Yeah.
Not best VFX. Yeah. Not even close. Yeah. Like, come on, everybody. Like, that was a feel-good story.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that. Like, the fact that Lavia got his first Oscar, fantastic. And, like, everyone else is fine.
It's the first independent film to win an Oscar for animation.
Yeah.
Never before.
And it probably shouldn't have. So there we go.
Right.
That's the problem with animation.
Would I rather, like, Cartoon Saloon won for, like, Song of the Sea or something? Heck yes. But that's not what we got this year.
Okay.
That was not an option.
This is a weird question, Pat. So you can't have a small budget animated feature then?
I mean, smaller. What are we talking about?
I don't know.
the
Because
Portland company.
I think
because they
I
did
believe
Pinocchio.
Flow had
They win.
few million. I think Memoir was like 5 million or something, maybe.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, no big movies are cheap in in a normal life, but for movies, they're pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the thing that's more impressive in some ways, especially like Memoir of a Snail, they built up the entire sort of production studio just out of people who were around. It's like almost none of the people worked on that movie worked on movies before.
Oh,
and it was like,
that's great.
You just need props and stuff, right? Like I'm an artisan in, Australia. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope.
And so that's like pretty cool. Flow, I think sort of more or less was like an outsource house that he kind of worked with for animation.
Yeah.
So that's less fun.
Yeah. Honestly, I felt like Flo was going to win, so I picked it. And I do really appreciate so much about it. Other than clearly it's not the best animation. But Wild Robot is the one that I feel like I could go back and watch over and over again. But Memoir of a Snail, I mean, that was kind of the standout for me. Like, I just thought it was so cool. I really liked watching it. I certainly wouldn't want anyone in my family around me while I was watching it. Not kid appropriate.
It's
darkness.
and it's
not because
so
of like the claymation boobs,
depressing.
but it's so dark.
Yeah.
Like the themes are so dark. But I loved that movie quite a bit.
Yeah, and I think my knock against Wallace and Gromit is that it is safe, but that's what kind of I like about it too. It's a comforting movie.
I want to watch that Penguin again though. Now I'm ready to go back and rewatch. So I feel bad that I've been dissing Seth so bad. But
It's so funny. But
and the amount of references that they do, even self-referential, but also all these genre references.
Oh my gosh, it's
we've got.
There's so many Easter eggs.
It's a thriller.
Like,
it's a horror.
It's
a slapstick comedy.
Half the movies we've referenced
what is
on
it,
this show.
What's the
have
Pacino
talked
one
about.
that they're talking about?
Oh my gosh!
Or De Niro movie. What is it?
Oh, like Cape Fear?
Yeah,
or something?
the Cape Fear reference
gosh.
where it's like you're in the prison and it's like exactly the same.
And, there's so many references to horror movies.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It is funny.
It is so good.
I felt like they may have overdone it a bit.
A little Shawshank.
Oh, so much Shawshank.
We've got some James Bond.
Oh, it's so many.
Blofeld.
I honestly, we should just have a whole episode of all the references of the Wallace and Gromit movie. That would be.
I mean, it's a lot.
The chain.
I think that's the fun thing too about that movie, that it is like it's a love of cinema, right? Like Flo, I don't know what that guy's thinking. And I think to its credit, it's like it does feel original.
You're not supposed to know what he's thinking.
But also, I think to me, I walk away feeling like I was let down. Quinn, we all watched it, and I think everyone generally liked it. I almost fell asleep in it. And then Quinn was like, "Yeah, I was interested," but then he's like, "But I'm taking nothing away from this movie. It's sort of,
there's no
ethereal.
Lesson. There's no like life-changing moment where you're like, oh, this was so special."
Well, I guess trusting in people that you might be scared of could, get you through a tough time.
I'm pretty sure
there's stuff you could take away from it.
Secretary birds to help you.
Pretty sure that's the
capybaras and dogs.
Same story as Home Alone. You're scared of the guy and you actually gotta trust him. That's Home Alone.
The neighbor
Literally
with the shovel could be a secretary bird.
And the dogs are the wet bandits. Is that what we're saying?
That's great.
Dogs are jerks sometimes, but And lemurs are thieves. And
Okay, guys. Speaking of
And that lemur was really a narcissist for sure.
Memoir of a Snail, let's give our favorite Eric Bana movie. You guys ready? I'm going to count to 3. You're going to tell me your favorite Eric Bana movie.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ready? Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. The Castle.
Black Hawk Down.
Right, you didn't even say anything.
I don't know
Star
what my
Trek
favorite
Nero?
is. Oh, that's good.
Hulk?
I like the Hulk. That's the one I
Troy?
wanted to say.
Troy?
No, not Troy. I would have said the Hulk probably.
First of all, I can't
Or what's
believe
the one where they're in Germany?
Star
the
Trek?
Olympics one?
Munich.
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 Oh my gosh,
that
that's
is also
pretty
that would have
good.
been maybe my second one.
Have you guys seen The Castle, though?
The Castle.
If you haven't seen The Castle, we need to have an episode on The Castle because
Okay,
it's one of the
put it
best
on the
movies.
list.
It is up there with Monty Python, Spinal Tap, and
Oh, it's like a comedy.
Strange Brew.
Oh.
It is no, it's not a comedy. It's the comedy of Australia. It's the funniest thing that has ever come out of Australia, ever.
Wait, is this a really bad movie that you made me watch?
Hey,
I've seen part of this.
is this the
I
power?
didn't realize it was Eric Bana though.
Power lines. You know what I love about
Maybe.
power lines?
I think so.
I mean, it's got pretty good reviews.
It's
Yeah,
the
I'll give it a go.
best movie.
We could do it. We can do
The
it.
Castle.
Yes.
You've never seen The Castle?
Yes, you've
Oh
shown
my
me
gosh.
parts of that.
It's-
I have
It
not
is-
seen it.
It
I
is
have not seen it.
fan.
I probably
effing
do need to watch the whole
tastic.
thing.
It is one of my favorite movies of all time. Like it is
There we
the
go.
only reason we haven't like done because I'm American.
It's on the
And
list. Seth.
like The Castle. And it's not the
The
castle. It's the castle.
Castle.
It's not a home, it's a castle.
And if you're all
He's
wondering at home
dreaming.
because
It's
you
like
haven't seen
saying, like,
Memoir
I'd
of a
like some
Snail,
chaws.
Oh,
with my
freaking
crackers.
Bluey, man.
The
That's all
Chaws.
Dottie wants to do is go to Australia. Freaking Bluey. It's like we had Crocodile Dundee. Our kids have Bluey. It's just soft power, baby. Australia
Same
still
thing.
not use it.
Quickly Down Under.
Same thing.
Uh,
Same thing.
Yeah, Eric Bana is in Memoir of a Snail. For
Yes, he
folks
is.
who are like, why are we talking about Eric Bana? He's in Memoir of a Snail.
Because Memoir of Snail is an Australian movie. It's an Australian everything. Everything's Australian about it.
So good.
Which,
The
again,
old lady
brought out
too.
heavy
She's
hitters.
great in it, and I was like,
She's
I
so
looked at all
good.
the stuff she's been in, and I was like, there's something else I've seen her in that makes me remember her more, but I couldn't find it in her list.
Why do you guys hate Troy so much? I thought he was pretty good in Troy.
It's way bad.
It's way good.
He's probably fine.
Jackie
in it.
Weaver?
The other guys, yeah,
great.
Jackie Weaver.
Brad Pitt is
Silver
hot in
Linings
that movie.
Playbook isn't the one that came to mind.
No, she plays like a psychic or something, or a medium in something that I remember her very well from, and I can't remember what it was. It was probably a show, which is why it didn't show up on her filmography.
Pat, I got another question for you.
But she's great.
We're going
Okay.
back to animation. Was there any
Okay.
movie that came out this year that you thought should have been nominated that wasn't? Did you see all the animated movies?
Was there any
I think-
other-
No, I didn't see all of them.
Okay.
I know people really like Transformers 1,
Yes.
which I did not watch.
People did like that a lot.
So there's a version that could have snuck in there.
Yeah. I like that.
I think that's
Pat-
honestly probably it.
Oh, bad. is
That
it
really
Bad Guys
Deserved It.
2? Oh, that's this year.
Did we go over? Have we talked about
Bad
your
Guys
favorite-
Haunted Heist? Yeah,
What?
I don't know.
What's your favorite animated movie of all time? I just want to do this again. I know we've had this conversation several times, but
I think.
I'll start out. Aladdin, obviously, just makes sense.
Ooh.
That's my first one. Okay, I'm just gonna start off.
You know, the one that like shook me to my core for the first
Ooh,
time
I love this.
was Lion King. Seeing that in theaters.
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
it's so freaking good.
you know, it's so epic.
And
Just
then you
that
saw the
first,
live
the first bit, and we
How did you
slammed
like-
to the the logo. You're like, oh my gosh.
How did you like
What
the
am I
second
about to see?
animated Lion King?
The Andy Serkis directed one. I forget who directed.
Freaking
There's
live
a couple.
motion. It's just
Mufasa.
better.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, and by the way,
No,
we
maybe
didn't
that's
talk
Jon
about
Favreau.
Mufasa. We didn't talk about Mufasa. Which
Also
is
got a
also-
lot of money.
It doesn't go in a category.
No,
It's
I
animated.
don't care
It's
for those.
animated.
I didn't hate the live action-y Jungle Book actually. To be
No,
honest.
that was dope.
pretty good.
Jungle Book was great. The rest were garbage, but that was great.
And Pete's Dragon was
I didn't see the
pretty
Pete's
good.
Dragon one. Well, Pete's
It's
Dragon.
got Robert Redford.
Not the original. You're talking about the new one.
Yeah. But when we've taken a cartoon, and again, Pete's Dragon, he's only
It's like
partially,
live
it's only
live
partially a
action
cartoon.
than
cartoon.
Yeah, but
Jinx,
still,
give me a
the
Passamaquoddy.
the update of our childhood to modern era.
First of
Pete's
all, we're not
Dragon's
that
a
old,
pretty
Pat.
good one.
Pete's Dragon is older than we are.
Pretty good.
Came out
Way
before
older.
we
I
were
watched
born.
it when I was a child.
We rewatched the No Mobile the other day, and I was like, "Oh gosh, this is very
boy.
old."
Oh boy. No, I think Transformers is maybe the only one that maybe could have snuck in.
What would you
Wait,
kick
what did
out?
the Annies say again?
Kick out Flo, put him in Transformers.
Yeah, or
That'd be
Kick Out Flo, yeah.
awkward. The one like
Uh,
low
Ultra-
budget one.
I mean, again, the Annies had Kung Fu Panda 4 that Christmas and Ultraman Rising were the other ones they had. So
Did
I mean,
not watch those.
I'm sure Kung Fu Panda 4 had great animation. I'm sure it was fine. It was
Sure.
a great team. I'm sure.
Bad
should
story,
we
probably.
throw out
You want to
some-
know my
some
favorite
fun
animated
facts?
film?
I do.
oh yeah, I never said mine either.
Anybody?
Oh, you're still here? Oh, this
I was
is
gonna say
awkward.
Incredibles. Incredibles,
Man, reliving all my
Is
trauma
maybe-
right now.
the safe one.
Which one?
Incredibles, I think I'll go with as like my safe choice or favorite of all time.
That's
Oh.
such a lazy choice, Pat. That's so
Wow.
I know it really is.
You
It's
might-
pretty basic, but it's so good.
But you don't like all the anime stuff. You don't like the stuff that's traditionally better than that. Like you don't like Spirited Away.
No, I mean I like it fine, but
It's not.
it's
doesn't
also
compare
an
to-
enigma to me.
Yeah. You know what I would
Interesting.
pick that's not Disney
Oh, I love it. Go for
and
it.
also not anime is Don Bluth movies.
Dope.
Secret of Nim.
Sing on him. Rats on him.
Oh gosh, that is one of my favorite all-time movies.
I'm so
All
I
excited.
was
Dogs
either
Go to
that
Heaven.
or Land Before Time.
Land Before Time is so good.
All Dogs Go to Heaven is
Oh.
so good.
But Land Before Time is like a
Land
moment.
Before Time is just
I feel
You
like
just-
if you're not an exennial, you don't understand how good Land
But
Before
yeah,
Time
Secret
is.
of Nim. Oh gosh, that's definitely one of my.
I still
fave
kind of
go-tos.
I still kind of have nightmares of Secret of Nim.
Oh,
like that
it's
was like the scariest movie to me.
Yeah, the
for the
owl?
longest.
Well,
oh
yeah.
my goodness! Like it is.
And then there's like a
terrifying.
sword fight where they really get cut up. at the
Oh,
end.
it is
You're like,
awful.
well,
what is
even
happening?
like when Nicodemus is like saying anything.
First
you're
of
like,
all-
this is the
Yeah.
creepiest
Bro,
creeperton
his name
rat
is
guy.
Nicodemus. Let's just go start right there. Like this is
And when he
already
dies,
like multiple.
Nicodemus is
oh my
dead.
gosh! That movie scarred me.
Oh man, so good.
The only one that
Would you
scarred
guys
me
have
more
freaked
than
out if
that
I said
is Never Ending Story.
heavy metal or Watership Down is my favorite animated movies of all time? Would
jeez.
that have been
Oh, come on, we don't believe
more gross? Yeah, no, they're
We
not.
just wouldn't
They're
believe you.
horrifying.
Yeah, we wouldn't
They're
believe you.
horrifying in different ways, but I
Uh,
thought that would have been a real out there choice.
What's the one that came out? Oh gosh, this is gonna make me sound so stupid.
Yes,
The game one.
Yeah, only this.
The game one
War of the World.
that came out in the late '90s, early aughts. Late '90s.
First of all, Mortal Kombat was a live action
no,
film.
no. It was like
Rest in peace, Raoul.
Fern Gully.
no,
Ferngully
no,
was.
no, no. Later,
I love Avatar 1.
later. It's a game. It's a video game.
I love Dances with Wolves too.
Early 90s.
Yes,
A video game.
it was like new the way they did it.
Doom?
It was no.
Okay.
It's a movie.
Oh, right.
It's like spirited spirits.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
So good.
Yes.
Help me out, Pat.
Final Fantasy, the
Yes!
Spirit Within.
Oh my
Final
gosh,
Fantasy.
really?
I loved that movie.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
new
I mean-
to me. It was so new. Everything about it was new to me.
Okay,
That
that's
was bleeding edge visual animation stuff at the time. And then
See?
they went and did like the Animatrix and stuff,
Yeah.
which was also pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was
Final
pretty
Fantasy
cool.
was good. Sorry to
Alec
date
Baldwin
myself and nerd
was a voice
myself.
actor in that, I think.
I think so. But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I watched it a lot of times.
Huh.
I mean, it was
Yeah,
still
that's
when
cool.
you could like rent a movie. So there
Yeah.
was also that
was
piece
01.
of it.
It
I
was,
might
yeah,
have been a
that's fair.
limited selection.
That is fair.
It was
It's
nearing the end of the blockbuster
It's
Hollywood
not-
video.
It's not a good movie.
Yeah,
According
it's
to
not very
everybody.
final. It's not very
But it
Final
was,
Fantasy.
at the time, it
ish.
was cool because I didn't play the game,
You know what it
but I
reminds me
liked
of?
the story. Maybe.
It reminds me of that children's book thing with Tom Hanks, where the
Oh,
train.
gross! No,
Polar
it was
Express.
not
Polar
Polar
Express?
Express.
It looks Polar Express.
It does look
It's
a
not
little
as
Polar
dead.
Express.
It's not as dead faced as Polar
No.
Express, but it's close.
It's similar,
You
But
want
again,
hot
still
chocolate?
very
hot,
cool.
hot,
but it
hot,
was
hot.
way before Polar Express.
Who wants hot chocolate? You want hot, hot, hot?
Hot, hot, hot. Yeah, that was a fun Robert Zemeckis era. That and Beowulf.
Oh, that's
And
great.
you're like, oh, I don't like how these people look.
Oh, that's
Uh,
funny.
Should we do? I only have a few fun facts, to be honest.
I think I spewed mine out a little bit,
Bleh.
vomited them, tickling the capybara, and then realizing I have to use a baby camel because that sound didn't work for the.
Baby
Yeah, it didn't match
camel.
the character.
That's funny.
But can you imagine someone at the zoo tickling a capybara to
Hey,
try and get the right
hey.
sound
Can,
out of
and
it?
I think that's
could,
fun.
could you tickle that? What? No, for real. No, just tickle
I
it.
put
just
my
tickle
boom
it.
right
little,
there.
little
Yeah.
coochie coo. How creepy
Yeah.
are you, bro?
Yeah.
By the way, Pat, I like
Uh,
the shirt, The Amazing Spider-Man. So is that really your favorite movie? Is it Spider-Man?
No, but I do enjoy wearing Spider-Man
Okay,
shirts.
that's fair. That's fair.
And Into the Spider-Verse was dope.
It was dope.
It had an impact on my life.
It's not a
90
shirt.
But Incredibles, I rewatched that with like commentary so many times because the animators are on there and they're talking about.
so
really?
good.
That's
If you have
I
a
mean,
shot
it's
that has like
fine.
physics, give it to a Spaniard. You know,
hair.
Like,
Yeah.
like okay.
I think high
It's so good.
school. I think high school animation movies like Disney stuff for me was probably Beauty and the Beast was my fave. And
Again,
then but I
great
did
choice.
watch Lion
Great
King
choice.
so many times.
Be prepared.
I know.
for those
I know
look
every
is
word to
done.
all of those.
I had the
but-
CD. I listened
and
to it
Little
a lot.
Mermaid.
Little Mermaid was
Well,
the
just
revolution.
the music was so good.
because
Music of our lives.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you go rewatch Beauty and the Beast,
Mhm.
watch Belle's face. and
Is it
see
awkward?
How much it warps.
oh,
It's
Well,
very hard to
there's
keep
stuff-
her sort of nondescript face.
Well,
on
same with
model.
Little Mermaid. She turns into like super wafy, thin, strange to like
Yeah.
normal.
And 2D animation's hard.
So
It's hard.
here,
It's all hard.
here we go, Pat. Why don't
Better
you
than
just
me.
say Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
As my favorite animated movie of all time.
Yeah, or like your most impressive movie of all time.
Why not Steamboat Willie?
Because you ready for this? Because I was in a
Uh-huh.
Disney phase for a while. I read Michael Eisner, John, like all the CEOs, Disney Wars. I read the Walt Disney one. Because of the Great Depression, Walt Disney was the only one who had money. So he literally had the best animators on the planet because no one else could afford them.
Sure.
And they made this insane movie that looks 50 years ahead of its time.
Oh yeah, holds up.
And it still looks fine.
I just don't love the content of the story that movie as much as an
Well,
adult.
sure.
As I
mean,
That's what
don't
What's
go
it?
into D.W. Griffith's sister either. I mean, there would be no KKK without the history of film.
Yeah. Are we gonna predict how well the new Snow White's gonna
Are
do?
we going to do controversial films like The Jazz Singer and like A Birth of a Nation? Are we going to go down that route? Because that
or
is
Gone with the Wind? For that matter,
honestly, yeah, it's very similar. It's a
it is
Song
one
of
of
the
my
South.
favorite movies ever. Yeah, Song
Speaking
Song
of
South's not
animation.
one of my
Well, Sing of
favorite
the-
ever. Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's true. That's I would love it. Pat's like, you know what's my favorite movie? Song of the South.
Although Fox and the Hound as an early child was one of my faves.
Tim Burton animator.
No.
Yeah,
yeah,
That's
that was
cool.
one of
Isn't
his
that
last
cool?
ones.
that's his last animation
Um,
for Disney.
Well, well done.
Also, Peter Pan, problematic.
Yeah, very problematic.
They have to
Sure.
they put a warning at the beginning of that one now when you watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't put it, Seth,
Or Pinocchio
as much as.
too. Smoking.
And we talked about the
Yeah.
craft and how amazing it was, and they animated on ones, and it's like that's insane. No one does that anymore.
Insane.
But like, I don't really
For-
care about a
Right. For me, it's
Disney
story over.
princess as much as I
What about
used
Pinocchio?
to.
Also, like Thumbelina was one of like
I enjoy
the
it.
best
funny.
movies to me. Like or Fern Gully, loved. But yeah, of course they're not high quality, but the stories. I mean, the story for me moves me better than the quality of the animation.
I want to talk about
I'm
Legos for 2
sorry.
seconds. I think I've done this before.
You
this
like Legos?
is
I
Walt
can't tell what
Disney.
you're holding up there.
This is Walt Disney,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the multiplane,
Oh, the multiplane camera.
camera,
That's cool.
and it came with this set. That has all of the animated movies. I know I
Whoa.
jumped. Yeah, it has like all of the animated movies from like Snow White up to.
Did your kids help you make that?
No, they threw it. Teddy grabbed it and threw it. Megan had to like re-put it together.
Oh no.
Anyways, and so
That's
like
fun.
it like opens up. It's really a cool like little Lego set. Like I'm always impressed. So Walt Disney can sit in here and like draw and all that fun
That's
stuff.
cute.
It's cute, right? But the thing is, for Walt Disney, the
there's
movie.
Alice.
I mean, other than Fantasia, because that was kind of like his work of like his love. But the movie that did all the things he wanted to do finally was
Sleeping Beauty.
no Pinocchio.
Pinocchio.
Oh,
I would say Pinocchio and Sleeping Beauty also for me were like the most fear-inducing animated
for
movies.
sure.
But like the whole dragon piece and then Monstro.
I wonder if I can do this with my camera.
They're pretty amazing.
I'm gonna move over here. Right?
Sword in the Stone, I think I had the most fun with, I think, as a kid because of like the wizard fight.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
that's cool. Also, what about like
Focus.
Ichabod?
There it is.
Ichabod Crane.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Mariah, you guys just talk.
It's a little blurry.
Blah, blah, blah.
So this has multiple planes of backgrounds. So when you move closer, you move through the backgrounds, which they never were able to do before. So I'll say that again over here. So what this did was they made him the ability to go through backgrounds like 360, like now you can do it all digitally, of course, but that was the first time.
Yeah,
we could
then
go.
they can pull things out as
Yes.
you're going in, even, and so it looks like there's
But this was like literally a physical camera
parallax.
pushing through, and they could move it.
And what's
left
the first
and right.
time they used that?
Pinocchio.
Oh.
So Pinocchio is arguably like Walt Disney's pinnacle.
So that came post Snow White, post Sleeping Beauty.
No, Sleeping Beauty's later.
Oh, it is.
Because it went Snow White, Bambi, Fantasia, Pinocchio. Anyways, around there, right around that era. So yeah, and then Sleeping Beauty
he
was
used it on the
Sleeping Beauty was
old
until
mill.
1955.
But they used all the old stuff, like cinematography kind
For
of
sure.
backgrounds.
But that was post World War II. The other stuff was pre World War II,
oh, so this is probably
which is a big deal.
Sleeping Beauty is probably low
I think it was
budget.
used. It was used in Snow White, I think, Seth.
Yeah, it was, but like that's. Oh no, it wasn't. The 3 pane was not.
He's
It
really
was
Well,
not.
we can.
Patrick,
agree to
who's the
disagree.
animation expert? It was
Step
not.
into my office, Seth. We
I mean, you know, look
You know
at
why I know
Wikipedia. You
that?
can
Because
disagree with
the
Wikipedia.
Has
background,
Lego told you?
my Lego has a picture of Pinocchio,
Did
so
Walt
I know.
Disney tell you?
It
that?
doesn't mean
He's
that doesn't
right
mean it's
here.
the first time
You
it got used.
Talk to his face.
Talk to Walt.
It was. I read it in the biography.
Okay,
all right.
fine.
Read it in the.
We
I
believe
read
you.
Stuff.
We
Fine,
believe
Seth.
you. You listen to stuff.
All right, I've only got a
Let's
few
not-
fun
let's not
facts,
start
and then we
lying
can
on
get
camera.
out of here. We can get out of here.
Somebody's
right.
gonna fact check
One-
us.
Go, Pat.
One fun fact. For Inside Out 2,
Mm-hmm.
like you're kind of pointing out, Seth, it's very tweeny.
Mm-hmm.
They had I forget what they called it, the Riley crew, the Riley squad,
Yeah.
this set of teens across the country that they would, every time they'd screen the movie, they'd get on the Zoom call with these girls to be like, what'd you think? Did this sound right? And actually use their input to better inform
Nice.
the
I like
teenage
that.
girl of it all. And I think in that way, the movie was pretty effective.
Yeah.
Um,
I bet it was great for.
Kira, who
was
is
like-
13,
Yeah.
is
In
big
it.
fan of that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Because Dottie's like is a little over her head.
Yeah.
She's 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
No, and I
it's
loved
more
it,
complicated.
and I really. It's also like Turning Red. You know.
Yeah, we
It's
we watched that movie,
Woo, way
and it
over
was
your
like,
head.
what's going on? I'm
It's
like,
a
I don't
good
want to explain
movie.
it to you, Daddy.
It's
Ask your mom.
It's a tween movie.
Ask
for
your
sure.
mom.
Yeah.
Same with like Ron's Gone Wrong. That's also a little bit older. Even Luca, I think, is a little bit older kind of kid.
Yeah.
It's also not as good.
Well, you know,
You're a sea
animation's
monster,
not
you're
just
not.
for children.
Yeah, exactly right. Oh my gosh.
Uh,
Okay.
Memoir of a Snail. This is a weird fun fact, kind of related to the content of the film. To create all their water stuff in the film, they used lubricant.
I did like that fact. I was like, that's very fitting for that one.
They also used that in the what's the Jim Henson Muppet Christmas. They use that for the ghosty scenes too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Very
Little
fun.
KY.
You got a fun fact?
Well, I already did this is the first independent film for Flow. First independent film to win Best Animated. 7th film overall that is not Disney or DreamWorks to win. So
that is crazy. Only 7.
Oh yeah, in the history but although then you're thinking,
And you mean Disney Pixar?
Yeah, Disney Pixar.
Well, now we need bid.
But we're talking like since 2000, so it's actually only 25 years.
Yeah,
So
but what was
7.
before that? Disney. Like it's hard. Like really.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to go back before that, Pat. Pat, that's like a homework project for you. Do a best animated feature all the years before that.
Well, I
own
believe
list.
Beauty and the Beast was actually nominated for Best Picture. Just
Yes,
proper
it
Best
was. Yes, it was.
Oh, it was?
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was. Beauty and
It
the Beast
is a very
gangster,
good movie.
which is silly that Lion King wasn't.
Yeah.
Just to be honest,
Because
Lion King,
caliber wise, I
Yeah.
feel like they're both amazing.
but Lion King is like
But Lion King is a little more epic because
the
of the
best.
cinematography
it's
kind of.
the best of that era, and
It's
I'm
so
an
good.
Aladdin fan. Like I'm Aladdin #1 always forever. But I understand.
No, I'd put Beauty and the Beast and Lion King first.
Yeah, everyone does, but I will stick by Robin Williams. Thank you very much. Because you ain't never seen a man like me.
The other crazy thing,
Yes.
the first Wallace and Gromit released in 1989.
How old were we?
I was 8. Wow.
I was 10.
89?
Pat, you
bro?
were 5.
89. I was a 5-year-old bully.
Hmm.
And all of them have stayed on TV and collections ever since.
So good.
And it was a student. Speaking of Flow, I guess it was Nick Park's student film. Was a grand day out or whatever. And so, I mean, he didn't get an Oscar for that one, like the Flow guy.
Yeah,
did,
nice,
No.
Pat.
it's
I like
still
that.
pretty.
Good hot take. I like that.
Still pretty
Burn.
impressive that Wallace and Gromit have lasted, and they've kind of morphed. It's funny. Another thing they talked about, kind of making of. They're like, well, which Wallace do you want? Because the Wallace sort of changed, and there's a matter of Loaf and Death was technically the previous one. They're like, no, we want Werewolf Wallace. And there's like a mouth is a little smaller. So I thought that was just
That's
pretty
funny.
Like,
That's nice.
we can choose now because we've got all these eras of Wallace.
I'd like
There
to
you go. I think that's all I got.
I'd like to throw it out there that I would like to say I wonder when Gumby is making a comeback. Because if we're going to do something and you bring back old stuff, which is pretty much everybody's doing.
But Gumby wasn't that
I feel like
good.
Gumby's going to happen.
No, it wasn't.
Do you realize how long that show was on, though?
I don't.
I feel like
I don't.
It's due.
I don't think it was that good. I don't think it was.
I liked Pokey
Yeah. I feel like they've all got
and the
they're going to have a
Blockheads.
moment. Mhm.
I think the difference is that's like a weird ethereal world with no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah, it's true.
And Wallace and Gromit is just
Good
they're characters who exist in a world that you
I'm
could tell
still-
different stories.
I'm still predicting we're going to have a resurgence.
I thought they already tried recently. Like it was a commercial or something.
Not that
recently.
I've seen.
I bet they brought him back in some kind of commercial for sure.
Yeah.
I bet
Interesting.
you're wrong.
All right.
All of you.
All right.
So we've determined Mariah
it's wrong.
is a little bit wrong,
but
that's okay.
Yeah, but the good news is she's wrong.
Winner.
She's
just like the
wrong
rest
with
of
the majority of people.
I know, so silly.
I'm willing to live with
popularity.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's
I
fine.
think the fun thing about all these is subjective.
The problem is Oscars have become a, hey, these are the movies you forgot award. That's what it's become. It is. Like, it's not picking the movies that, like, we all watched. It's picking, like, hey, these are really good. We think they're really good. You should watch it.
Well, I didn't watch any this year because I was busy watching old movies.
Yeah, well,
for a podcast.
First of all, you couldn't have watched it because they weren't available
in
America.
Yeah, it wasn't an option.
No, it's so.
Well, Wallace and Gromit didn't come out till like November, right? Like,
yeah,
that was a late ad.
Yeah,
which is still earlier than freaking every single Best Picture nom.
I think you can rent. I'm still here now.
Yeah.
Oh, really? No
finally,
way.
yes. I think finally.
Seriously, guys, watch it. It is good.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I might not watch Man Born Snail though. Actually, The Castle. You guys should watch The Castle though. I'm telling you, that is that's a life changer.
Sometime. Okay.
Life changer.
Yeah, watch animated films. Because as Guillermo del Toro said, animation is a medium, not a genre, and it can tell stories of all kinds.
Mm-hmm.
I have one more complaint, guys. Some of these movies should be in the Best Picture nomination. Not necessarily this year, but it makes me angry when an animated movie can't be the Best Picture. That's my other hot take.
They're letting foreign films in there now, so maybe it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Because, hey, Beauty and the Beast gave it a shot. And then, I think Snow White? No, it was a special Oscar. I can't remember.
Got an honorary Oscar.
Honorary Oscar, yeah. But it is silly because there are years I'm like, Frozen, like some of these movies are better than the other movies, but that's a hard one. That's a hard one
of the year. Yeah, it could happen.
It could happen. Pat, what movie would you like to work for if you had to be a member of the team? What movie would you like to be working for?
Who's your team?
Who's your team, bro?
Oh, Wallace and Gromit. If I could go,
really?
If I could go into those stages where they have that real tangible world set up, and I get to like push and pull on an armature.
Not Guillermo.
But you're a computer guy, Pat. Like, you live on the computer.
I know, but I would like to aspire.
Oh, that's cool.
I would have to be a better animator than I am now to do that job.
What?
And so that's
guys,
it's just magical.
Guys. So
it's just magical.
What you don't understand is Pat is a freaking good animator, and this isn't like Joe Schmo here saying I'm a good animator.
That's what he tells us.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Like, exactly.
He worked on this little indie game called Halo that no one's heard of. And so, like, this little game that no one's going to even talk about. And so then he says, like, I wish I was a good enough animator. Yeah. What was the crappy one you worked on for, was it the Nintendo...
Godzilla Unleashed Double Smash, maybe?
That's so good.
I still have some pride in that. I did a Lara Croft for the DS.
There we go. Yeah. Like, so
I did a plug-and-play Spider-Man game.
So it's crazy to me that you're like, if I was better at animation, like you have worked for the biggest companies on the planet, right? And like the most renowned ones. And you're like, I'm not good enough at animation? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm just going to be real here, Pat.
It's hard. It's hard, and it's hard to be really good.
I think Pat's
and it's just a different skill. It's the same with, like, I've technically done 2D animation and flipped pages. Also really hard. Like, there's different skill sets. Like, the thing about that's really hard is keeping your images at all consistent, which is why you have cleanup artists. So the main artist can kind of be a little more scribbly, and then someone will go, I will make this look like the same character across all these things.
That's funny.
And then
how frustrating to be the cleanup guy. Although somebody has that specific skill set where they've got the OCD that can do it for you.
Yeah. Huh. And then stop motion, you don't have to worry about it being on model because it's a literal model. Like, it is the thing.
Wow.
But there's so much pre-planning and just understanding of movement through time that you have to have innately. I cheat with I've grown up on the computer. I cheat with the computer. So I haven't built up that skill that other
I see what you're saying.
Would sort of need to do.
Pat, this is the ignorant Seth speaking. Like I'm so confused how it's the same quote unquote craft.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. It's a separate
that's
category. Claymation.
No, it is.
Well, hear me out though. So Pat, but you say
it's like an action movie versus a horror movie. Like it's the same medium.
Seriously?
But you're telling different stories.
But these are
and
so
using different techniques
in appearance.
But he's the animator, Mariah. We don't get a say about this. Like it's his job.
Well,
like,
we have a say. It's just not right. I can say all sorts of things.
So you're telling me.
I guess maybe that's a bad analogy.
I don't like butterflies.
It's
I thought you
the
did like
same.
Moths. Same.
Flying insects.
It's the same overall goal of bringing life to an inanimate object, animating it.
Mm-hmm.
But you just have using different mediums.
That makes sense.
You know, you're using different flavors of the medium of animation, whether it's 2D, 3D, or stop motion.
What if
it's still the same problems you're solving.
You just come in with popsicle sticks.
Same, right? That's crazy.
I mean,
so I'll be honest, Pat,
animation.
That's a little crazy to me because for me, as someone who prefers to shoot things, I do not like to build anything on. Because for me, it's like all the animation stuff I don't touch. I hire out. So for me, thinking through, I'm like, yeah, it's all video. I'm like, nah, bro. I shoot, I capture, and then if I need someone, I hire to do that stuff. And you're telling me you, as a person who made his life living on a computer, would be just fine moving over to clay? That's surprising to me.
Would I be good at it? No,
but that's
not
the
right
dream.
out of the gate.
But
that's the dream.
But you get the concept. Is what you're saying. You're saying the same concepts from you making 3D models.
The same principles.
It would transfer in a way.
Interesting.
Yes, I would just have to plan how I do it differently and get good at doing it that way. But that's the one, again, where I look at a stop motion scene that I'm like blown away by.
Yeah.
Not only it's like, wow, that was such a cool choice, which is normally the thing you're like excited about with animation. Like, wow, what a cool choice, what a cool pose they did.
Yeah.
The performance is great. And then you add on the difficulty of doing it in stop motion, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
that person is a wizard. And so I want to be a wizard more than I am.
Because you are a wizard.
See, that's where I can identify because I want to be a wizard too.
No, but you have to be a witch. So, but that's the thing that's crazy to me.
I'm already there.
Yeah, winner.
Ding ding.
So when you think about these things that you're creating in the virtual world, you think this is totally practical to take the same concept in the physical world, and then that translates.
Yeah. It's largely the same. It's just I have a digital version. So in stop motion, you have a metal armature underneath the plasticine or the foam latex or whatever the heck they're using to cover the armature. And it's just a skeleton that you pose, and it's got some rigidity. It's what they've been doing since King Kong. They basically solved it out of the
or
gate.
Jason and the Argonauts. I've done my research, Pat. I got you on Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah, Willis O'Brien figured it out, forever ago.
Yeah.
And then in 3D
on
the computer.
In London?
No, definitely not.
Well, I don't remember which one it was.
We have a skeleton and then a rig that moves the skeleton, and so we're moving just an armature in 3-dimensional space. It's the same thing, but I get the benefit of going back and forth and layering. You can't do that in stop motion. So I can animate a scene.
Pat. You're so lazy.
100%. I can animate a scene and go, I'm just worried about the body, and then I can go back and do all the face. Stop motion, they have to know, okay, on this frame, I'm swapping out this mouth shape for this one as he's doing. It's crazy. It's just so much more work.
And that appeals to you to actually want to do. You wouldn't.
Yeah, because I get excited looking at the behind the scenes and that stuff because they're in a real space. It's like a real set. Like you're it's closer to being a real actor in a way because you are on a set.
For sure.
Yeah. Did you see
And
the
you're
behind the
performing.
scenes of like Pinocchio?
Yeah.
Like
It
their
was insane.
whole
It was
set.
insane.
It's so cool.
It's amazing.
It is so cool.
It is
I
cool.
don't disagree. I'm just surprised.
I would want to play on that set
I figured
too.
you would have said Wild Robot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just would have figured, like...
Nah. I mean, Chris Sanders is kind of a legend, but I mean, that I feel like I get that with my job. What they're doing
exactly
to
right.
some
What
degree
you do
is
more Wild
I
Robot.
get to do a version of that.
Yeah.
Not the same, but a version. Whereas stop motion, that's a different thing. And honestly, stop motion was the first animation ever tried.
Yeah.
We had an old VHS, recorder, and I would try and push the record button really fast and
Seriously?
move a toy. Yeah. And it was bad.
Absolutely.
They didn't look good. But that
could've
was
just
my
used your
first
camera.
animating at home when I was a kid. I didn't have a camera
That's
when
true.
I was a little
That's
kid.
fair.
We had and how would I put it on like a tape, Seth? Like, come on, how would I do it? I
Logistics.
needed
here.
it
Logistics, yeah,
going
good point.
right
No, you're not wrong.
to a VHS tape,
That's dope, Pat.
and
I
that's
love that.
inefficient.
And we had like
So-
the most high tech setup that you could probably have.
You
at the
did.
time.
You guys were freaking
Yeah.
ballers back then.
within reason. We
So
could do it.
That's the dream I'll never really fulfill. Maybe someday I'll get a little armature set and I'll do stuff at home. But
Right?
that's the one where I go, you guys are amazing. Take my money.
Nice.
That's cool.
Setting
I
the
like
bar.
this. Pat, I thank you for
Well,
giving us that. Because, honestly,
I've
this is like how I look at big films. I'm like, well, I love to work on big films like this, but I don't know how that would work. Like, it's just another next level of like complications that I don't understand. I get it. Like when I see this, I'm like, yeah, you obviously use an anamorphic
you technically
lens,
understand
probably
the
a
structure
35
of
millimeter.
it.
You're
Yeah.
probably shooting at this ISO, and I get it. You're using probably this rig, but then I'm like, but honestly, like it's still such a big thing. So I
Plus,
do.
There's
there's
a
a
lot
cog in
involved.
the wheel of all of the things.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? Like as I think about this too, when you get to the next level, you have to specialize. You no longer can do everything because like right now I have to do everything, and so I assume once you get to that next level, and Pat, you're already at that next level, which you specialize. But it's such a funny thing for filmmakers because it's like we just do it all. We color, we do audio, we do directing, we do whatever. And so when I think about you doing claymation, it cracks me up because I'm like, what the crap? You've already specialized in like a specific character, maybe just a face of a character, I don't know. And then now you're like, let's freaking play with clay, bro. Like it just cracks me up.
It's fun.
That's
fun.
awesome.
That's
awesome.
I did, before we go, one more fun fact because we were talking about it. There actually have been 3 animated Best Picture Oscar nominees. Do you know the other one? We mentioned both of them.
So that's the
They
two.
did win in their category, of course.
Obviously, Beauty and the Beast and Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, right?
Well,
That was on
that, but for Best Picture.
But for Best Picture.
So that's Beauty and the Beast, and then 2 more recently.
more recent. Let's go Spirited Away.
Nope.
No.
Pixar movies.
Pixar?
Toy Story
So Toy Story 3?
3.
Yes.
Wow, really?
And then what won the year before Toy Story 3?
Up.
Up.
That's awesome. I'm not sad
Best
about that.
Picture noms.
Those are good choices.
I'm
Yeah.
not sad about that.
So
choices.
it has happened.
Wow, I didn't
somewhat
know they were
recently.
nominated for Best Picture. No
Nice.
way.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
That
great.
was
glad.
that was when we started, when we expanded the category. They started
Yeah.
squeaking them in.
Yeah.
First
Good.
10 movies
There you
for
go.
Best Picture.
Yeah,
Still
10 movies.
stupid.
All right, I think
All
we've
right.
talked enough.
I think so
About
too.
this thing I
This
love.
is, but I love this, Pat, because this is like up your alley, just to the left. You know what I mean? Like it's right
Yeah.
there.
Up
and
your-
Yeah, I haven't worked on films.
Up your
Also,
rear
fun
and around
fact:
the
I
corner.
have employed animators that worked on Wild Robot,
Dope.
Inside Out 2. I guess that was it.
I like you've
Yeah, Wild Rover
employed.
and Inside
This
Out
is,
too.
but guys, in case you don't know, Pat has employed these people. Not he was working for them. He's employed them. So this is a part like where you're like an expert in this field that I'm attaining to get to, which I love, Pat. So thank you for that time. I thank you for the insight. Thank you for the insight.
Thank you for your time, Pat.
And thank you for proving Mariah
They
wrong.
blessed me
That's my
with
favorite
their
part
work
about it.
for a brief amount of time.
I'm still not convinced I'm wrong. I'm just a different perspective, like the one that has no technical knowledge at all.
But you still,
Yeah, but you've got a lifetime of love of these movies.
The Oscar was not voted on by animators. That's the thing.
100%
was not.
It was not. Yeah, he never is.
But animators, again, in the independent category, they gave it to Flo.
He still gave it to
Over
Flo,
Memoir
yeah.
of a Snail.
See?
They were both in there.
Yeah.
So, and I can see that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but so shout out Kate, Nabika, and Sean. Thanks for
way to kill it, guys.
Yeah.
Let me pay you to
No, I
animate.
thought Flo was dope. Don't get me wrong. We just shouldn't have beat Wallace and Gromit. Jeez Louise.
They all
All
did.
All right, guys.
They all good.
It was a good category this year.
Not as good as some other years, but it's still pretty good. Guys, watch The Castle, 1997.
Next
it's a great
up,
movie.
Right.
In
This
the
has
future.
been hopefully the last Oscar episode we're doing this year.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that anymore.
So frustrating. But
New year.
It was, the movies were fun. Animation, I feel, is the most rewarding to go watch. So there we go. Guys, my name's Seth.
Mariah.
Pat.
And we are your How to Be a Movie Snob team. Keep watching movies. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.